I met my soulmate and they rejected me. Today's video is about meeting your soulmate and how that's not really that important in this lifetime. Though desire is fun. We're obviously here in the material world to experience different things, and the things that you deeply want, you will experience having them. And for some of us, I know myself, this has been the pattern, is once it's in front of you, it doesn't really have the weight that it did when you were desiring and chasing it. So I've experienced this when it comes to money, and now I've experienced it when it comes to love. I've experienced it in career in multiple different ways. And so I'm sharing this for those who are on a journey of seeking the soulmate, thinking that that's going to provide them some exhale, some release in this lifetime. And we're not here to be super comfortable and cozy. I think those type of relationships fall into codependent relationship category. If you're looking for a soulmate, it's actually about growth and personal expansion. The best way to start this story is to go back to my relationship history and share a little bit about that with you. So in my 20s, I was in a 4-year relationship, and that one was a little bit more of toxic behavior and dynamic. I felt like I chose a partner who reflected inner wounding, inner critic, level of problematic that was within me, and was the right mirror to that. Unfortunately, it created a lot of wounding within me. And so I wasn't very emotionally available after that relationship. I felt like I was licking my wounds really from that experience, but it was a very heart expanding experience to love somebody very deeply. And my ex at that time went through near death experience, and because of that I learned how to give for him for a number of months, and it led me to a soul awakening, and that was a marker in my spiritual journey. Then I spent basically licking my wounds, lasted like 3 years, dating people on and off, and then I entered a 2-year relationship with somebody who was spiritually more aligned with me. Emotionally, we were a lot more aligned. And we actually had much more of a friendship than we did a relationship. There was a lot of codependent behavior within that relationship, and it didn't provide me a container for growth. And so when I was growing out of New York City, I was discomforted. That person was emotionally dysregulated and not able to handle or provide me any grounding. And so I really just embarked on this solo journey. I met my twin flame after a few months, and that was really interesting to experience a reincarnation of myself in another person. And it led to me having a psychic awakening, Kundalini awakening. Check out my video around my Kundalini awakening to get more context on that experience. But ultimately, I returned to my true self. This was around Saturn returns period. And for many of you who are listening, this is very far out and unrelatable, and that's fine. There's themes of these that actually relate to anybody in their relationship behavior, of patterns to break out of, breaking out of that kind of toxic relationship, moving into what seems like comforting love, but it's actually codependence, and then evolving into a sovereign level of loving people, but not clinging to them, not over attaching our sense of love in them, but actually having this abundance of love that spreads to all areas of life. So I experienced twin flame dynamic, which is ultimately a person who's exactly the inverse of you, a direct mirror to you, and they'll trigger you in ways that you didn't know it could be possible, especially if you're very healed people. Him and I both were very emotionally intelligent people who also lead a lot of community in this same capacity, and it's just really interesting how bothered we could be by each other, but showed me blocks within myself that I needed to take ownership over to release wounding from this lifetime and also generationally, so that I could be able to access love and higher level spiritual connection. So through my Kundalini awakening, a lot of that did the work for me. And then I was in this place of like, okay, I feel a little bit more grounded. I want to continue dating, and I would love to meet a soulmate connection, because what you'll see all online and in the twin flame community especially is like, don't go for your twin flame. That was impossible. Go for your soulmate. And a huge part of me knew, yeah, soulmate level love and connection would be really valuable, especially because I came to the clarity that I want children this lifetime, and how amazing to create a relationship with somebody who's an equal partner. So I tried to do this aggressive style of dating during sprints, and I find myself meeting karmic partners, feeling really depleted, attracting again old patterning that was super toxic, and had to kind of take inventory and just reassess what was going on. And then as I did that internal healing work, made lots of breakthrough, and then met my soulmate. I was guided to them very much like it's teamwork when I'm moving towards spiritual ambitions. But the funny part is spiritual and ambitious are kind of incompatible. Spirituality at its best is a process of surrender. And I have like 5 planets in astrology in Capricorn in the 12th house in the subconscious. And so in having this psychic awakening or kundalini awakening, I've gone really into how can I up level my ascension process and things like that, which is very silly in many ways, but I digress. Ultimately, I was guided to go on the dating app. They said that there was somebody there I needed to meet. I saw them, pretty immediately identified, yeah, this is the person. Matched with them, had a video call with them, definitely the person. Then we meet. And we have a great date, actually. We have so much in common. We share very unique backgrounds that were mirrored within each other, and I could see the way that there could be so much harmony. But ultimately, a day after the date, I was informed by them that they weren't available to continue dating me. Yeah, it hit hard. I was hosting a really good friend of mine at the time, so it didn't hit as hard as like maybe if I was just by myself during those times. I had an amazing 3 days with my friend, but it was still like looming into me, like, damn, I've done everything right. I've done the healing. I've done the integration of my feminine and masculine energy. I've come to this place of wholeness, and I even took their initiative to match with this person and push myself beyond my trust and comfort zone to just go and continue on this journey of dating and choosing trust. But this person wasn't ready to receive that relationship or potential relationship, right? They might circle back and have a different clarity of mind in the future. But at this point, I'm definitely not pushing for it, because what it brought me to in awareness is that, wow, this life experience is also just to chill out, embody that surrender on a deeper level, and trust that the people that are going to show up in your life and who are meant to be in your life are going to prove it through their actions. It's not going to be just about connection or compatibility, or you're spiritually this and this with that person. You can have telepathy and astral project into their experiences. It's because you just choose each other. It's truly that simple. The friends that I've maintained, and the friends maybe that you've maintained through life, the family that you're closest to, are the people who show up. If you've been forcing it with so many people in your life, then that's worth questioning too. Why can't I release? Why can't I just let things be a little bit easier? Why can't I just welcome the season of ease into my life? And connecting with this person was actually very unblocking and healing for me on a spiritual level that connects to Manipura chakra and a lot of the content I've been putting out. But in reclaiming a lot of my more healed masculine energy, I feel also the energy to travel, to go visit more of my girlfriends who live in different parts of the world, to keep making this life so exciting and enriching. And yes, there's this piece that I created additional attachment for me, which was to have children in this lifetime. And because of that, was dating with a lot more intention but aggression than I have historically. But if I release that and I say, you know, I'm going to be happy in this lifetime regardless. I'm truly going to be happy in this lifetime regardless, because I choose happiness. I choose to put myself in a mindset of gratitude, the devotional practice. So although that would be deeply fulfilling, and it's so good that my womb has the awareness and my nervous system is regulated enough to understand that, it doesn't mean that I have to like then double down on finding the right father for my future unborn child. So I want to share with you all some things that I think might support those who are in this position of knowing that you want to call in your soulmate, but also knowing that the timing of that isn't in your control. And even when you're guided to meet with that person, it doesn't matter if they're not emotionally available. Oftentimes you want love that's going to feel safe. And I think a lot of the people who are seeking the soulmates, predominantly women, sorry, women, if you fall into the non-binary community or you're leading with a lot of feminine energy, then maybe that's you too. But a lot of us are seeking this partnership, this connection with love in actuality. And this connection with love is so truthful. This connection of love is actually a connection with the divine. Ultimately, the love of my life doesn't exist on this planet. I can experience love with many people, and if I open my heart to allow that, then this life can be deeply fulfilling. And I feel that for many of us, there are so many ways that we're blocking love in our lives because we have a fixation on it has to be this particular timing with this particular person. And what we're doing is creating walls that block us from experiencing more love here, now. So I want to get into unveiling the soulmate myth, unpacking fact from fiction, moving beyond the initial spark into deeper connection. We've already covered trust and intimacy. Look at my previous video on trust. And then just embracing the journey. Soulmates. Let's debunk that. Soulmates do exist. Hopefully we have an abundance of them. It's so exciting to meet one and trust that you might have others that might come into the mix in the fold. If you operate in different ways, if you live in a different place, you'll have more access to different soulmates. That said, I do not believe in the one. I've met the one who is my other half, or better put, myself. We are the ones to ourselves. We are actually completely whole in this lifetime. You are like an acorn that's going to grow into a beautiful oak tree, and everything that you contain within you is already in this teeny little size that will be so expansive and so regenerative. There's a book, can't remember the name of it, but it really focuses on this whole acorn to tree metaphor. If you know the book that I'm talking about, please leave the name in the comments. Another debunking is that soulmates are romantic partners. Sometimes our soulmates are friendships. Sometimes our soulmates are relationships that are familial. Sometimes our soulmates are acquaintance type relationships that just provide us a beautiful mirror to be able to see ourselves, to be able to do more growth in this lifetime. Last but not least, your soulmate's not going to be perfect. All humans are flawed, imperfect beings. And this person hopefully just provides you a safe space for you to be your most authentic, expressed version of self. When I was with my girlfriend these last few days, we were talking about how she chose a partner who complements her. She actually has a very complementary relationship with her partner. I haven't experienced much of that. I've experienced people who are very similar to me and in a challenging way, or people who are dissimilar to me, and we have a bit of a battle of the wills. I think it's so powerful to be with somebody who complements you, whose strengths are maybe not your strengths, who's able to support you in accentuating the parts of you that you'd like to improve in. So that you don't end up in this codependent relationship where you're always leaning on them for the parts that you're not strong in, but you do know that you can lean on them. You do have that optionality. Then when it comes to finding that soulmate connection, many folks are like, I will feel it. I will just know. I'll be able to see it in their eyes. And I've experienced all of these mystical experiences. And I would say that on the 3D plane, a lot of that goes out the window because the mystical experiences, though they're deeply exciting on a heart level, on a cosmic third eye level, they're not necessarily the most grounded relationships. And so what I've seen to identify as a pattern is that there's a lot of folks who are in their prince era and princess era. And when you evolve from the prince era, you can evolve into a king, but many of the masculine energy are working to evolve into a god. And that trajectory of moving towards a godlike way is continuing to perpetuate being a bit of an immature prince rather than actually evolving into a place of wanting to serve in a healed masculine way and give back to the world, give back to the earth. This evolvement is into God complex versus what I do see of the feminine energy is princess, pick me, choose me, it's all about me, is evolving actually into more of the materialistic queen that was made up by the king and viewed as subordinate somehow. So they're desiring to be with a king, but actually the healthy evolvement is to just be the goddess, to be sovereign, to be powerful, to be loving, giving unconditionally. And there's a whole shortage of kings because of the prince to God complex. Therefore, it makes a lot more sense to focus on self during this era and then see who enters your life, what amazing opportunities that brings in and calls in. I do feel like the goddess has the power to elevate prince into kings and create a lot of healing on the earth. It's a very powerful stance to take. Versus, I want my king so I can be at ease and be at rest when women are doing incredibly well, and it's capitalism, it's scarcity mentality that keeps people in a cycle of disease and not stress reduced. And that's a systemic rather than a personal issue or something that will be solved at the personal level and therefore be enough. It's going to continue to impact your children or impact people around you, right? We want the collective to feel ease, to feel creative, to feel all of the feminine energy qualities that we deeply love. I think there's huge opportunity for shared values. Despite you not necessarily meeting somebody who you're in lockstep around all things, if you have enough of the shared values, then you can make a lot happen. One of the things I was so excited about was how this person who rejected me, soulmate, fit so beautifully into my pre-existing life. I was super excited about it because I was trying to somehow contort and fit into other people's lives part-time, and it just really wasn't going to work out. And so I was so excited about the ease of that. And there is something to be said about that. It's so lovely to have harmony in the ways that you like to operate, spend time, your interests, your hobbies, etc. That is worth something. And if you can share those with people, it's so great. And if you can enjoy those alone, it's also great. But having a shared bucket of things that you can do and enjoy and interests and values that you share will help. A lot of the reason people truly want soulmates is because they want a safe space to experience love. So many of us are looking for deep intimacy and heartthrob and this beautiful connection, but we also want to experience it in a safer container. The twin flame thing is the opposite of a safe container. So soulmate is safe container. Safe container, however, is something you have to create within yourself. You have to create the capacity for you to give that and then also receive that. So how can you continue to heal within yourself? When I think back to all my prior relationships, none of those relationships reflected anything that was outside of me. I had a deep inner bully, so it makes sense that I was in a relationship with somebody that put me down regularly. And then eventually that inner bully quieted, and I could hear how much I was receiving that was negative from this other person. And there wasn't a contrast at first. And then the contrast became so amplified where I was like, I'm in an abusive relationship? Damn. When I was in a codependent relationship, it wasn't so obvious to me that I was pouring into this person so much and not receiving energetically the same soothing or had the option to co-regulate with them because I was so accustomed to self-soothing and not leaning on people and being hyper independent. So it makes sense that that wasn't something that I've ever experienced. Sometimes we don't know what our edges are, what our wounds are, what our needs are. And that's why growth through a relationship is so powerful. I can talk all day about all of these experiences. And hopefully if you're tuning in, you just experience resonance because you've experienced this in your own life, right? It's like we can read so many books of wisdom. I have. But ultimately, experientially, we gain that wisdom. Before it's conceptual, and then once it's embodied, it's a different level. The unconscious reason that a lot of people do want soulmates, or the not as pronounced reason, is because you know that in this lifetime you want to continue to grow. So you can continue to grow regardless of if this person's meeting you in the now present or if they're not. You have the opportunity to do so much self-discovery, self-inquiry, exploration, travel, collect new experiences, live your damn life. I feel in some ways that I've slowed down my role in collecting new outer experiences because I've needed to go internally. And sometimes we go through that phase of inner work period and then outer work expansion and the inner work and the outer work, and that's okay. I am no longer shaming myself for my inner work times, and I still create through them. I've created all this content during an inner work time, more or less. There's been like fluttering of going out, but not out in the way that has me on the road. You're going to have an amazing connection with somebody who wants to commit to that relationship, right? So you have to get to the level of commitment to each other, to deepen, of devotion to each other and to life, to live life. And I think this idea that you meet the soulmate and it's connection alone that supports it is not true. It's commitment. It's commitment and it's action. It's not just words. It's not just feelings. It's also action. I am sharing this video because I too have been fooled by these people sharing I've met my soulmate videos and now I'm so deeply fulfilled. I fell for it. I definitely did. And yet I also simultaneously knew better. I knew that this journey is always about the self. I knew that this journey is about the love that is more expansive than any rom-com will ever be able to market to you. It will try to attempt the brainwashing, but what has stood the test of time is people's devotion to higher, and insert whatever you want, whether it's they're an atheist and they devote it to nature and the ocean and whatever, and the energy, or they're into God, they're into the goddess, they're into absolutely everything, all the ascended masters, spirit guides, angels, etc. There is such a enriching part of life that comes with love that expands beyond one person. It expands to children, to villages, to the entirety of this world, to the cosmos. That's the powerful love. That's the love that this world is needing more of, and you have the ability to cultivate that love within you. And the more that you cultivate that love within you, the more it becomes like a positive infectious force that surrounds this planet, and this planet is so needing people who are compassionate and within their heart. The earth is deeply wanting us to stick around and not disappear as a species, but we're moving towards extinction because of this abandonment of nature and the abandonment of connection to self and love on a true level. So soulmates are pretty because they're somebody who's similar to you. So it's easy to love them, right? It's easy to love somebody who's kind of similar to you. You have the same shared values and connections and compatibility. Yay. Can you love somebody who's not similar to you? Like, that is a great capacity to love. We should be working to get ourselves to a level at which we love absolutely everyone. And I'm aspiring for that in this lifetime. Working on it. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, 5-star review on audio, and I'm sending you so much love in the days ahead. I appreciate you being here.